This is ContactTalkRadio.com. Consciousness in action. And you are taking action into your consciousness by tuning into Contact Talk Radio.
And on TuneIn.com, Ping.fm, and UpSnap Mobile.
Contact Talk Radio.
Oh yeah, here with my.
Hello and welcome to this beautiful moment in time on the planet Earth. My name is Liz Starkey and I'm joined here with Robert Tum of Spiritual Energy Dynamics. And we're going to have a fun show today.
Hey there, Liz. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm in a great space.
I'm glad. It's great. You're such an inspiration to me when I experience that bright, vibrant energy that you exude, and it's just wonderful. So thank you for that inspiration, which is kind of what we're going to be talking about today anyway.
Oh, goody.
Things that inspire us, but we'll get there in a little bit. So how's your morning starting out? Good? You have a good breakfast, all that?
I just finished my first meal of the day and started out a little foggy, but, did the things I know to do and that sometimes I require in order to feel inspired and groovy. So yeah, I'm firing on most cylinders currently. So
would you mind if I kind of lead everybody through a little visualization to get their energies cleared and grounded? Those want to join in?
Robert, I would love to be a part of that.
And even if you're tuning in later as a podcast, the same process should help you get grounded.
Yes, because there is no such thing really as time or
time
space.
And space, right. A whole quantum physics discussion there, right? Anyway, if everybody will just tune in, I want you to visualize your whole energy field around you. There's many, many layers to it, depending on what the level of consciousness, what you've been evolving into as you expand your consciousness and tune in. And there's the basic energy field of the physical body, the mental body, the emotional body, the etheric body, and connections beyond that to our higher selves, to what we label as the soul. And part of this, the importance of what we do when we do some alignments like this is to integrate and optimize the energy field and make sure it's flowing by looking at the chakras and how they interact with the emotional, mental, and the physical, and help us optimize our connection to spirit, to higher self. So if everybody would just visualize in a minute their energy field having wonderful energies coming through all your chakras right now, removing any discordant energies, any blockages, any misalignments, as you see the colors of higher blue coming through now, washing through your energy field, clearing every aspect that needs a bit of fine tuning and alignment and healing. Now we have the energy of violet coming through, healing, balancing, and aligning. Now there's a golden energy coming in, and as you feel this energy coming in, feel your energies, see your energies coming closer to your physical body, bringing them closer as they're being healed and aligned. Let's bring them to arm's length distance, feeling them being aligned and cleared, and the golden energies coming in, just refreshing, aligning, healing, balancing the energy field as you feel it coming closer. Now we have a pure white, beautiful white energy coming in, just washing through every chakra, coming through your root chakra, your sacral center, your solar plexus, your heart chakra, your throat chakra, your third eye, your crown chakra, all the interconnecting channels, your masculine, feminine, and kundalini channels, and all secondary channels that connect all the limbs of the body, come down through the trunk of the physical, the emotional, the mental, interconnecting, aligning, bringing it all into integration and fully flowing, connecting with higher self and all the beautiful kingdoms out there that are part of our universe, part of our earth. Feel it all integrating and aligning with you, and a bubble of protections around you as you start your day and go forward out into kind of a chaotic world sometimes. But know that you have some wonderful protections if you just visualize them and ask for them and ask the divine ones to reinforce them like we're doing right now. So see the whole flow interacting between the various levels of your energy field, the various planes of energy, aligning, fully integrating, accepting and claiming the energies that are coming into you, all the positive vibrations that are coming into you. Claim and accept, and hold a visualization as you go throughout the day of things that you want to manifest in your life, whether it be relationships, whether it be careers, well-being on the physical, emotional, mental level, and just hold that energy as you go out through the day. So thank you for listening in, and we're going to get started now with our program. Liz, what are some of the things that inspire you as you start your day and really try to make sure you're vibrating at the highest level, and points of inspiration that help get that kick started?
Well, it's an interesting question, and there's multiple answers. So I'll try to be concise as we move along. But, one thing that really helps me get into a friendly, loving, positive state of mind is having an environment that's clean. That might not be true for all people, but I really like not only a clean environment, but a beautiful environment, like maybe some fairy lights or some candles or some smells. Smells really help me stay a little bit more grounded, which is something that is very important in our line of work. So just having that environment set up to be conducive to being in a good space is really key for me when it comes to starting the day off right. So every evening when I'm wrapping up in my office, I tidy up, I organize my desk so it's like a clean slate for the next morning, and I can walk into it born again the next day.
I love that. And of course, I feel that around the house as you do your organizational things around the house and do prepare for the next day. So I appreciate that very much.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, for me, it varies from morning to morning, depending on what my day looks like. Is it going to be a busy day, working on people's energies and responding to emails and that? Those days are, especially Mondays, can be a little bit, a little hectic, can be a little bit stressful as I'm trying to be of service to people out there and help them get their energies aligned. So usually Mondays are a little different day for me. I try to get away from the old traditional corporate aspect of like, oh, Mondays are tough, Mondays are going to be busy, and try to start out with maybe focusing on a good breakfast, a good cup of tea or coffee, sitting outside and enjoying the birds and the squirrels and the wildlife and all the vegetation kingdom, and just putting my mind away from work for just a little bit and working on getting my energy centered and grounded. Being outside, regardless of what the weather is, how hot it is or cold or whatever, just being in nature helps me get centered and helps me prepare for the day. And after taking some time to do that every morning, especially on Monday mornings, I'm better able to handle the day going forward.
Absolutely. And, I think we can all learn something from that. There is this frantic energy, this Monday frequency that can be stressful, even approaching, Sunday evenings, knowing what is coming for the week ahead. But if we can cultivate a little bit of space between our workday and our tasks and set some 5 minutes to kind of get into your own body and get into your own groove, whatever that might be. Robert spends a lot of time. He's got a nice little outdoor area outside of his office, and he, spends some time drinking his first cup of coffee, communing with nature, maybe watering the plants, allowing himself to kind of come into the experience and be present in the moment before being essentially infiltrated with a lot of energies from other people, from clients, from family, etc. And I think we can all take note and do that for ourselves, because you, more than anyone, deserve your own time and attention. And so, doing that, giving yourself 5-10 minutes, it can change the direction of the rest of your day.
Yeah, Liz, and exactly right on. Well said. As we teach in our classes that it's very important that we take care of ourselves. So, we can't help anybody else if we're not grounded, aligned, and functioning at an optimum level. And, I know a lot of people listening may have some really critical situations, high pressure, high stress, dealing with some of life's challenges. And if you can take a few minutes as you're trying to deal with that stress, or even if your day, if your life is pretty easy going already, it certainly is important to know that you take care of yourself. If you don't take care of yourself, you're not going to be any good to others. It's that illustration of a flight attendant telling us if there's a decompression in the cabin to put the oxygen mask on the person next to us, a child or somebody, before we put it on ourselves before we put it on them. Otherwise, we're not going to be functional.
Great illustration. Oh, I love that you just used that, because yesterday, the day before, I did this guided meditation. It was beautiful. And she was basically, helping us to remember that something that has always been with us and will always be with us is our breath. And when we find ourselves in the midst of a crisis or chaotic energy or kind of spinning out, if we can just remember, it's super simple, to return to our breath, who is essentially our best friend, our prana, our life force, and take some deep breaths, it can very quickly help us recenter, realign, and be able to combat whatever might be coming at us from all directions. So great oxygen illustration. I love it.
Well, it's an important factor, Liz, too, is that even as I'm sitting here now, I find myself not really getting a good deep breath sometimes. That it's just that habit of trying to concentrate on what are we going to say next? How are we going to make this program, the best it can be? And next thing you know, I'm just kind of like shallow breathing and okay, breathe, get that deep through the solar plexus, diaphragm, nice, not too deep because we don't want to get dizzy here, but we want to stay clear and grounded. So thank you for that reminder as I sip on this delicious cup of tea.
Please, no, go ahead.
No, Liz, I want to make sure people know how to get in touch with you as they're, you offer some tremendous programs. You have a very interesting client base that's eager to learn and grow and get your assistance with things. And, remind the viewing audience what your website.
Well, thank you, Robert. That's very kind of you to say. My website is www.lizwithwings.com. That's Liz with wings.com, all one word. There you can find my email. You can find my phone number. You can schedule a call and we can chat. Usually within a week's time, there's availability, and we can come up with a program that's right for you, or I can answer questions, or we can just get to know each other for 20, 30 minutes and see if we're a good fit. I love connecting via voice. I connect so well and strongly when I can hear someone's voice. And so it's a great way to get in touch with me and get things rolling.
Absolutely, Liz. I love that. And I love your website. And on there is a scheduler for, you have a section there for a complimentary initial call if anybody wants to take a look at that too.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's really, really cool. And, the programs that are offered out there are very flexible. Your programs and mine at SED4U.com, they're very flexible in the sense that they can be customized for individuals. But the bottom line is our programs are to take a scan, a snapshot of an individual's energy field and figure out where it is in relationship to where it should be if it's firing on all cylinders. And our program are not just a snap your fingers and everything is fixed type of energy alignment. It's a process of typically starting at a week-long program that goes through many layers and revalidates that the energy work is being effective or not. Find out if it's not, why it's not. Doing a lot of things to be thorough and not just help with clearing blockages, but also help with consciousness expansion and the ascension process.
Yeah, a lot of times, what can happen so easily, it happens with us on a regular basis just because of who we are and the work we do. But, for everyday people out there, we can pick up energies that don't vibe with our field. And because of that, there's a cranking down, if you will, or a diminishing of our overall, what I like to call divine Wi-Fi. And so the divine ones, the angels, the masters, the many beings who are more than happy to assist us, they kind of lose sight of us, or our connection gets spotty. And so what we're trying to pray for or manifest or ask for, or maybe even our sense of self and who we are and what our purpose in life is, that can all get a little bit muddy. And so the work that Robert and I do help to clear those channels and get you firing on all cylinders, and help that connection between you and the divine ones be that much clearer, crisper, and stronger. And hey, miracles happen.
These are practices we use on ourselves throughout the day. I mean, it's spiritual hygiene practices that we use to align our energies to make sure we are staying as clear and functional as possible, as we deal with the same issues as everybody else out there, our same concerns about what's going on in the world around us, the uncertainties, some of the misinformation and information, trying to sort through it, and some of the uncertainty it can cause. We deal with it like everybody else and have to manage our energies. That's part of our commitment to ourselves, our commitment to you, our commitment to humanity and all the kingdoms, is that our responsibility to keep ourselves clear. And we use those same protocols and techniques as we work with clients and students. So thank you, Liz.
Thank you, Robert.
So anyway, I wanted to see if there was anything that, that you read once in a while, or that little verses or chapters or something that you draw on when you're needing a little inspiration. Do you have anything you'd like to share?
Sure. Can we talk about burnout for just a second?
Oh, sure.
I think people experience burnout, and their emotional bank account becomes depleted, and they feel exhausted and, have a hard time getting out of bed. And I've struggled with those things in my past, especially as a young adult, teenage years for sure. But, even now, sometimes it's hard to be that person for other people, if you will. And so I have to have various channels of inspiration. I have to allow myself time to rest and recoup and find that divine magic, because so often with the line of work we do, we're doing a lot of service for other people, and it can be a little tough to see that magic in our own lives, because it's our job. Just like a chef, when he's, working 12, 14 hours, busting out these gourmet plates, at the end of the day, he doesn't go home and cook himself a filet mignon with, truffle mashed potatoes or whatever. He's probably swinging through Taco Bell and going to sleep exhausted. And so we have to cultivate that inspiration. And so I have a boatload of little books or meditations or practices I use to keep myself kind of engaged and in the flow with spirit. So I did pick one this morning to share with you. Do you want me to do that now?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so I love creative people, and I love words, and I love that there are those out there who can use words to paint a picture and express an idea. Words oftentimes fall short to what spirit is, but I love the attempts. And one individual who I find to be a literal genius is Rumi. He's a Persian born in present-day Afghanistan around 1207. He lived from 1207 to 1273. Check him out. He's got some great poetry, and I just want to read this one.
Sure.
What I love about his work is there's a beautiful sense of humor, beautiful imagery, and he does a great job of articulating the divine magic and mystery of the human experience. So I picked a short little poem because I get nervous reading aloud. I have like all these middle school flashbacks coming up. So here's a short little poem called The Lame Goat. You've seen a herd of goats going down to the water. The lame and dreamy goat brings up the rear. There are worried faces about that one, but now they're laughing. Because look, as they return, that goat is leading. There are many different kinds of knowing. The lame goat's kind is a branch that traces back to the roots of presence. Learn from the lame goat and lead the herd home.
Love that.
Isn't that great?
That's really good.
Can't you see that floppy little goat walking up the hill, just in his own little world?
Yeah, it's amazing how the timelessness of a poem like that, and some of the ageless wisdom, and the wisdom keepers that have shared their insights with us, and that of the aspects around us, that of the information age, so to speak, or social media, we have access to a lot of the wisdom. Some of it's not such wisdom out there, but trying to sort through and discern. But there's a lot of value in some of these older philosophies that give us some inspiration. So I appreciate you sharing that.
Thanks. Yeah, I recommend anyone who loves poetry or is wanting to inspire maybe more creativity, pick up one of his books of poetry. That's Rumi's books of poetry. You can get lost in his words and his images, and he makes me laugh from like the soul of my soul, because he really, there's this knowing and this enlightenment and this hunger, and it just kind of covers me like a blanket. So when I'm really depleted and I'm looking for that extra little something, this is a book that I go to, and I will read a poem or two and then try to write a poem or two and move about my day.
I love it. It's good. Thank you for sharing.
Thanks, Robert. Which you got some ideas in your head.
I've been trying to figure out which ones to share, which one's appropriate, because I've collected a lot over the years, and I have a handful of books and notes that of things that inspire me. Years ago, one of my favorite places to go through, back when I lived in Huntsville and would journey to Atlanta, is a place in the mountains of North Alabama called Mentone. Little community. It's on top of the mountain. It's a little river runs through there. It's the only river in North America that runs its course on the top of the mountain. And beautiful state park, little community there. And I was having lunch there one day and went across the street to a bookstore and found a used book, The Book of Changes on the Unchanging Truth.
Oh,
and
that's where you first discovered that book?
Yeah, and
cool.
There's many versions of this with different interpretations of the I Ching. This is my favorite. And when I look at how I've used it over the years, and I've got tabs and marks all through it, I got dates, and I'm like, wow, what was I going through when I found that bit of wisdom?
Yes.
And as we try to figure out what should we do with our spiritual growth. And I know there was a time when I was really into groups and hosting groups, weekly groups, and that, and as time changed, sometimes I become in the mood for a group, or sometimes it's just my own adventure, or sharing, spiritual growth things with you. But here's a little blurb that I saw this morning, and my note on here, it goes back to August 2008 when I first saw this. Spiritual cultivation is not equivalent to participation in groups. Such practices are only on a social level. Real spiritual cultivation means looking for an inner balance, spiritual independence, and self-mastery. As described in the Tao Te Ching, people of real spiritual independence and self-mastery do not seek attention. Thus, they do not show off or chase after fame, position, or worldly luxuries, nor do they ever revel in their profound nature of their spiritual authority or power to others. Even though a spiritually achieved person may never reach spiritual authority, he must nevertheless always follow the fundamental spiritual path without compromise. And I think that's a point of inspiration for me, as sometimes on this spiritual path, there is a degree of loneliness as we realize there can be a separation between other people, not a judgment thing, not a contest, but there can be kind of point in your life where you prefer some alone time. You know, you and I in our relationship recognize that very strongly and give each other space to have that time. But it seems like people that we really can relate to change over time and evolves. And this, you know, groups are great, but sometimes as we're focusing into spiritual growth, we have to continue to dig into that internal self and see what's going on, that consciousness observing self, as some of our philosophers would say. So that's one point of wisdom that I, you know,
Love
that
it.
inspired me
Yes.
this morning.
What else you got?
So anyway, they have the poems within this book that are really inspiring. So this is one of my favorite ones that I'm going to read. Ordinary worldly religions and teaching attract ordinary minds. Their tenets, like haphazard virtues, sprawl every which way. Illusory and idealistic, they attempt to explain reality but fall short, unable to penetrate their own spiritual blind spot. They attract weak spirits who must also cling to something stronger than themselves, who must encourage consoling illusions to cheat themselves. Follow this crude way of trusting and believing without self-development, and what you will experience is but a void. After you experience the truth, you will know why Sheen cultivation emphasizes self-realization and transformation. Therein lies the answer to the puzzle of oral and written obstacles. First, strengthen yourself. Then you can influence your environment. All parts of your body and spirit will become like hands and eyes. Develop your mental ability until it is round, full, and smooth as a pearl. Then reap the rewards. Fearing danger no more, you will easily shake free of its bondage. The subtle heavenly law will appear within you and through you because you have succeeded in the spirit of sharpness. Truly, even while living in the world, it'll come to surpass and transcend its mundane problems and difficulties. Divine awareness always appears, helping you as you go, while leaving your spiritual ego in union with all beings. Heaven and earth and I are one, for we all are of the same origin. Realize this and become the strong seed of a whole being.
Wait, snips.
Snap, snap. My hands are too dry.
That was beautiful.
Well, it's a point of inspiration with the things that we're going through in the world right now, and some of the uncertainty and confusion and chaos out there, is that somehow we have to stay informed sometimes, but to trust in our own spirituality and see, okay, how is our emotional body handling this? How's our mental body? How's it affecting the physical? And it will wear us out physically if we spend too much time in the drama.
Yes.
So that was a bit of wisdom that has helped me as I try to, walk that fine line of staying informed, to do energy work, and then to take care of myself. So that's a bit of inspiration.
I'm just pondering. One thing about the I Ching is, there's a method to utilize it with the coins and all that, but it's also great. Sometimes if I'm going through something or if I need that inspiration, I'll ask the question, what is an appropriate message for me today around this situation? And I will either use my rising finger and come up with that, or I will just open the book and read the first thing that my eye catches. And if you've never seen this book, you can get it at your typical bookstore or Metaphysical bookstore. I'm sure it's online. It's a really, really fun, interesting, inspiring book to get to know and play with, because there's a lot of great wisdom and juicy tidbits to make you think and ponder, reflect, and it forces consciousness expansion and growth if you're open to hearing the wisdom within the pages.
I just did a little dowsing on what hexagram is appropriate for the listening audience right now, for all of us.
Ooh.
And it says fellowship, good fortune. Be cautious, content, and upright. The undecided will join and follow. The lofty will lose the opportunity and thus be isolated. So it's a little bit of wisdom, how that applies to all of us. But I'm going to read another little verse here.
Let's hear it.
That is part of this reading that applies to most of you listening in. The inner essence of the universe is benevolent. People within their true natures, functioning as a microorganism of the universe, are also benevolent and should therefore cherish humanity in their hearts. Use tolerance and patience toward others. Be loyal and forgiving, warm and sincere. Extend your harmonious energy to others. Do not complain so as not to pass on your negativity. Approach everyone with an open mind and without pushing yourself forward, but do not bare your heart when meeting for the first time. Judge yourself well and others moderately. Be forgiving and forgive fully and frankly. There is always a good reason to forget another's faults. Remember, even the sages were not faultless. Keep your tongue quiet so as not to provoke arguments. Leave room for your own repentance and compensation in every affair. Be flexible and yielding and do not quarrel. Bear an insult and keep your dignity. To repress a moment of anger can save you much regret. Strive to be selfless, not self-centered. A self-centered person expects favors from others, while a selfless person gives to others and never asks anything in return. Win people's hearts and do not impose upon their wills. With affinity, people will meet each other from a great distance. Without affinity, even when face to face, they might never truly meet. When people are of the same mind, their integrity will cut metal. Do not have intimate dealings with unvirtuous people whose words mean little and whose actions are indecisive. Do not nourish an unfaithful person. If one associates with unvirtuous people, one will be negatively influenced by them. Be fraternal and friendly to everyone, but keep your own balanced nature whole and untouched. Do not speak of another's shortcomings at any time. If you respect others, they will in turn respect you. Be humble and willing to serve people whenever you can. This is the nature and absolute virtue of the universe. I mean, Liz, this fits right in, as we've been philosophizing and talking and Liz and I individually and together along with friends and acquaintances are always striving to become better people ourselves and look at how we can, evaluate energy situations and circumstances and challenges and attitudes, but do it in the most loving, compassionate way. And sometimes that can be a little bit challenging. But some of this wisdom that comes out is really profound. And I think this was a nice message to everybody that's listening in.
Yeah, there's a lot of themes like you just mentioned that came through in that poem. So thank you for reading. And I want to just touch on something that's also coming up. As we embark on the spiritual process, and as we continue to further our growth in the ever unfolding experience with spirit, something the poem mentioned is associate yourself with virtuous people and basically good vibes only. And so that can be hard to find at times. And you might find yourself with a smaller circle if you endeavor to do that, if you endeavor to surround yourself with only good people. But as you fill out in your own being, as your light quotient, to use a Joshua David Stone term, begins to grow and you make room for more love and light by healing the bad stuff that's happened to you in this lifetime and others, you begin to magnetize and attract people of like-mindedness to you. So I think a common theme for one, spiritual growth experience in this lifetime is a shedding of the old ways, a shedding of the old relationships and friendships, a moment that might last for some months or maybe some years or more of being more of a lone wolf and having a smaller circle, and maybe even questioning like how you got to this point. But there's this tipping point that happens where once you are more whole and united in your masculine and feminine aspects, and loving yourself, you become this magnet that just attracts people like you, the people who need people like you in their life. So you become that virtuous person that people are searching for, and it's really, really beautiful. So for anyone out there who feels so totally alone, and like that there aren't people like you out there, I just want you to know that that is not reality. There are millions of people like you out there going through this, and you will find each other. And if you dial it in and start asking specifically to find people of your like vibration, or maybe even a little bit above, so they can kind of pull you up in that vibration, be aware and be ready to meet some interesting folks in a coffee shop, or in some funny circumstances, because the reality is we're all around, and most of us think we're alone, but actually we're just kind of missing each other because we're so focused on our own problems or issues or feeling of loneliness that our eyes aren't open to the present moment. So pay attention. If you're wanting to attract some of those people in your life, ask for it and watch, because it's going to happen.
Watch the magic of it, even in these challenging times where some people are trying to practice social distancing and things like that to make it a little bit more difficult to interact with others. But keep open that mental vision of positive expectancy for whatever you're trying to manifest, and the magic will still be there to bring it into your life. And so, yeah, with that, let's just pause a minute, because sometimes when we talk about things, it can stir the pot with each one of us and bring up some records and patterns that, well, we talk about things that come to the surface for a little bit of healing and processing. So just want everybody to focus a minute on their energy field, and again, bring it back closer, half arm's length distance, thereabouts from your physical body, feeling everything being aligned and balanced. And as you feel any kind of stresses come up that may have been triggered by anything we're reading or talking about, or concepts or ideas, and wherever you're feeling it, whether it's in your heart chakra, your solar plexus, or your sacral center, just visualize it being pulled out like a big vacuum cleaner, and a cloud of any kind of discordant energies being taken out and into the universe and being transmuted. And every spot that has been voided by this discordant, stressful energy is being refilled by all the wonderful energies that we talked about earlier: higher blue, violet, indigo, white, and all the positive vibrations that you want to attract into your being. So just allow that to process, and cut cords with everybody that you may have thoughts about, connect with, just disconnecting and allowing your energies to be your own. So I hope that helps everybody process. I know that helps me get grounded a little bit when I pause and do that periodically.
Oh yeah. What you got in your hand there?
Oh, I got all kinds of stuff. I don't, there's a book I love that people know I'm big into golf, but The Cosmic Laws of Golf by Printer Bowler has just all sorts of gems of wisdom. Like, for example, the law of attraction, for example, states that the thoughts and feelings you'll hold about others automatically compel that same energy to affect you in a like manner. That's a good one and a tough one.
This is hitting. Yeah,
I mean,
this is just like hitting for me.
Yeah, well, it hits me every time I read it, as I try to manage my own thoughts and whatever the subconscious is trying to infuse into my mind. So it's, again, being aware of our thoughts, and if you have some of the thoughts that are maybe negative, and
if there's a voice in your head saying you're not good enough, you can't do this, you're always going to be alone, that's a really big indicator that there's some non-ideal energetic interference in your field. And giving us a call and getting on a week-long or month-long program, as we move through that time together, you're going to feel so much more like yourself. And those voices, which are various types of entities and the like, which try to stir your pot and keep you stuck, keep you not from growing, because as you grow, you bring more light into the planet, right? And they feed off of fear and anger. And if you don't feel fear and anger, these things we're talking about can no longer exist. So if that's coming up for you right now, it might be time to give us a call. And because your life, the possibilities, your dreams, they're all within reach, and you deserve to feel whole and loved and loving and bright. You deserve that, and you are capable of that.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Liz, and this is what we try to help with with our energy programs at lizwithwings.com or sed4u.com. Liz and I have special ways of looking at your energy field to see, what's going on with it. Is it clouded and confused and swamped with discordant energies and misaligned and blockages that maybe you may be trying all these things of law of attraction and positive emotions and feeling, but there may be something just stuck or not clear. And by getting an energy field clear, realigned, reconnected, and staying on a program long enough for it to sustain and to build some momentum in a positive way is what we try to help you do. Our methodology is designed for that. We have a lot of very specific, complex protocols that we bring in to help with this, no matter what the situation. And even if you're far along and high and active on a spiritual path, there's always some alignments and things that we can help you with as well. There's no one out there that, in my opinion, can't use a little bit of a tune-up once in a while. I mean, you and I do this with ourselves every day.
Yeah, absolutely. And even if you're at the point where you have no vision, you have no idea what you want, you don't know what your prayers or manifestations are, we can help you with that. And in fact, when that soul connection increases, which is what we're all about in our work, you suddenly, sometimes in the week-long program, a lot comes through for the individual, because it's like a mass information dump into the personality, because suddenly you're reconnected to your higher self and you're remembering all these things. You're remembering your desires, you're remembering, your life purpose. It manifests differently for every person. But if you are at that point where it is so dark and you have a hard time even seeing what the next step is, or where you want to be 6 months from now or a year from now, give us a call and we can definitely help in that regard.
Yeah, so whatever you're working on, we don't claim to fix every problem. That's not what we are here to do. What we're here to do is make sure the flow and your energies are there, so all the things that you're trying to do work better. And that includes gaining clarity on answers to a challenge or questions that you have. And people oftentimes, when they describe the experience of working with us, is like they say it's like taking the fishbowl off their head. They can see things clearer, they can feel things flow better, they can get more clarity in what they're trying to get answers to, or more results and other things that they're working on. So it's a modality that fits and blends in with other modalities, and it's not a religion or a framework itself. It's a process that allows, regardless of what your background is or your religion or your spiritual ideals, this fits right in and can help with all of it. It's a very religious, neutral philosophy.
Yeah. Do you have something? You have all these things, but I just sometimes change, Robert, can be so scary.
Mm-hmm.
And even though we can find ourselves kind of stuck in a rut, we can be comfortable in that rut because what's on the other side is unknown, and that can be paralyzing. But let me tell you, when it comes to the invisible ones, as I like to call them, the angels and the masters, the divine beings who are here to help and equip us for the next whatever. Guys, if you could even comprehend 1/1000th of the amount of love they have for you, admiration, sense of humor about who you are, not in a making fun of you way, but in a like knowing you through and through kind of way. That the way you think about things or experience things they love you, who you are and how you are. Exactly. Even if you're like at your lowest low right now, they're there for you. And so when it comes to them working with you, while the fear is real and I understand it, if you can let go of that just a little bit, what's on the other side is really good. And you could not pay me $1 billion to go back to where I was, I don't know, 5 years ago. You could not pay me $1 billion to go back to where I was because of the richness that is my life experience now. So don't fear, because when it comes to love, it's all good, baby.
I love that list. Thank you. Yeah, as we're getting down the last segment of our program, just a little, we were talking today about things that inspire us, little bits of reading something or a book or a thought or an image that we have, and I've collected quite a few over the years that inspire me. I mean, some of my favorite reading is from Richard Bach and the book Illusions and Jonathan Livingston Seagull, and I'll give you some examples there. You are led through your lifetime by the inner learning creature, the playful spiritual being that is your real self. Don't turn away from the possible futures before you're certain you don't have anything to learn from them. You're always free to change your mind and choose a different future or a different past.
Dang. And we're not, just so y'all know, we haven't coordinated any of this. Like, I have no idea what he brought to the table. He has no idea what I'm bringing to the table. But the synchronicity and like, it is on point today. I'm stoked. I love that. And it's funny, the one he read, guys, he's got a whole list of these quotes, and some of them are highlighted. So I was kind of looking over his shoulder, looking at the highlighted ones. He didn't even read a highlighted one. That was magical.
True. Yeah,
Thank you for sharing that. That is so cool.
Yeah, the book, if you have not ever read the book Illusions, and those of you all of you that are on this spiritual path, check it out. It's really, really cool. It's timeless, and it's not like an ancient book from 1200, but it's certainly one filled with inspirations.
Is that from?
Yeah, all of these are from
Okay.
The books that Richard Bach have written.
Oh, okay.
Your only obligation in any lifetime is to be true to yourself. Being true to anyone else or anything else is not only impossible, it is the mark of a fake messiah.
Yes.
You teach best what you most need to learn. As I'm having conversations with students and clients and that, oftentimes I feel like I'm just talking to myself, or, and not that they're not listening, in the sense that, hey, Robert, these are lessons that you need to continue to reinforce with yourself. So it's all interesting, fascinating timelessness and the energy of it all. Every person, all the events of your life are there because you have drawn them there. What you choose to do with them is up to you. It's interesting, as we're seeing a lot of changes. I know quite a few people that are taking some bold steps and totally moving from where they currently live to other places, looking for that magical place where they feel more free in a lot of ways. They're looking for a change, a shift in environment, and several of them are moving overseas or across the country, and leaving sometimes uncertain of where they're going to end up, maybe taking a stop along the way and trying it out for a few months. And I'm just so excited for them, because what an adventure and what courage to each one of them that are taking this move with not knowing what it's going to be like. Are they making a big mistake, or are they moving forward with it? And every one of them are very excited. There's some trepidation, of course, but they're moving forward with that nudge from spirit that says, hey, there's adventure where you're going, what you're looking for. There's intersection points along the way, and this is one of them. Go explore, go try it out. And just because you go somewhere doesn't mean you have to lock in and stay there, or no reason you can't go back. but I don't think they're going to be going back. They're on a great adventure, and I'm honored that they're sharing this adventure with Liz and I. And along the way, we're having conversations and text exchange and sharing that excitement and some of the, little nervousness behind all of it. But we know each one of them are going to find that right place for them and their families sometimes.
Yeah, there are no mistakes when it comes to the evolution of spirit. And well, sometimes, and I laugh from personal experience, a big journey like this, of course, there are going to be hiccups, and of course, things probably aren't going to turn out the way you initially visualized. But what's in store for you on the other side is so much better than you can ever imagine. And so, I don't know, surrendering to the open road and the flow of spirit. Glory days, nostalgia. I enjoy hearing about their experiences because I think we have a little tap into the magic that is awaiting for them at the next interstate stop or whatever it might be. So
yeah, the whole adventure of it all is really, I admire those that are taking this challenge and doing something about it, and those that are making the decision that, hey, they're already in the right place to stick it out for a while.
we got 5 minutes left,
We got
Robert.
5 minutes. Well, it's been great.
I know.
There's lots of, we could probably do multiple programs on these bits of inspiration because they're all around us. I can look outside and, as we interact with nature out there, I can be inspired by the mama raccoon that has 4 little ones following close at her hip and wondering, hey, mom, what do we do? Where do we get our next meal? And how do we stay safe and protected? And mom is just like worn out, but still being that courageous, inspiring mom for the little ones.
And it's funny because how that inspires you, your inspiration from that experience inspires me. And I think inspiration is a ripple effect. And so be who you are and love what you love and explore what attracts you, because you're going to light the fire for someone else.
Just be yourself, and that happens. And be that people ask me, how do I answer certain questions? And I'll say, you don't have to answer any question. You don't have to explain yourself to anybody. You don't have to tell them why you chose not to attend a party or an event or go somewhere or do what you do. You don't owe anybody an explanation. You just need to have that peace within yourself. And so as we wrap up the show, go forward with that. Just be responsible to yourself. And as you do that, you're going to be more effective with everybody you're interacting with at work, at home, in the grocery store, or wherever. So thank you for tuning in. And Liz, thank you for all your wisdom and inspiration today.
Well, thanks. Yeah. And thanks, guys, for joining us. And we appreciate you. We value you. We see you. And we love you.
Yeah. Thanks so much for listening. It's an inspiration to us that we have such a great audience out there. And thank you. It's an honor, and I treasure it. So we appreciate it. And with that, we're going to wrap up. We're on the second and fourth Tuesdays, 11 o'clock Eastern time every month. And we're available on podcast. You can find that on our website at sedforyou.com. So tune in. Give us a shout sometime. Let us know what you think of the program. Send us an email.
Yeah, tell us what you want us to talk about.
Exactly. So with that, we're going to wrap it up, and everybody have a wonderful week. Take care.